Welcome back to the Pro Voice Podcast. My name is JT O'Donnell, the founder and CEO of Work It Daily and the host of the show. And today's title is Vision, Values, and Velocity, Leading People and Projects in a Fast-Changing World. I am so excited to have four of our Pro Voicers here with you today. Kicking it off with John Hoffman, who will always be known as John H. He's a creative producer and experiential marketing expert, followed by John Shambari, otherwise known as John S., who will be a school improvement consultant and leadership development specialist. Moving on to Anna Smith, a global leadership strategist, executive coach, and organizational change expert. And finally, rounding out the mix today, Shanoa Simpson, AI and digital innovation leader, project and program executive, and a former U.S. diplomat. Welcome to the show, everybody. So we're going to kick this off with a little mic check. We got to make sure everybody's mic's going, but do not take up too much of the time if you know what I'm talking about. So in 20 words or less, what I want to hear from each one of you is tell me a story that really shows leadership impact, because that's what we're talking about here today. And we're going to pick on you, John H. first. Give it to me straight.
Leadership impact. I mean, the funny thing is, I think it's flexibility now. And if we're talking about using our instincts sometimes, because we were talking pre-show about, tell me about a great save. Most great saves are experience and instinct. And where they really come in is prep. If you're prepped for stuff, then you can react to stuff. If you're not prepped, then catching up is going to kill you. So just be ready and be open and use your wits.
I agree. I think it's never been more important to be agile in your leadership style right now. That's a fabulous point. Let's jump over to John S. John, what do you think?
Yeah, so leadership today really requires, like you said, JT and John, that agileness and being able to work with others to collectively solve problems.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Right. And so playing nice in the sandbox, right? That whole idea of it's not my way or the highway. You got to be more collaborative. Love it. Love it. Your mic sounds good. Let's move on to Anna. Anna, what's your thoughts on this?
Certainly agree with my colleagues here. I think that from my perspective and my experience, the most powerful leaders today and the ones I've worked with are the ones that really don't know it all. They are the ones who are able to acknowledge that. And at the same time, they are able to stay grounded, curious, and deeply human, even when the world gets really messy.
I love it. So you're not a know-it-all. Don't try to pretend to be one. That's fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. Shanoa, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say in a world of AI, like some of the most important things are people, communication, and really empathy, being able to empathize and use emotional intelligence. I mean, if you want to communicate about AI, you got to explain your ideas and you need to think about the other person's position and how they feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible right now. I think in the headlines, we're seeing a lot less empathy from leaders right now. And I think that's indicative of what's happening in the marketplace and the pressure. But we all know, especially this panel, that empathy matters and you want to play the long game in your leadership strategy, right? So, all right, everybody's mics sound really good. So it's time to move on to a little signal boost. This is your chance, guests, to give a shout out. Product, a book, an idea, a thought, a movement, whatever you want to put some visibility on. So let's bring it over to Anna and have her go first.
Right now, attention management is, from my perspective, the biggest competitive edge in leadership, because time isn't really the problem anymore. It's distraction. That is really at the crux of this. So our world is literally designed to steal our focus through emails, meetings, notifications, etc. And the brain's constantly switching channels. So that's why a lot of what I focus on teaching from an attention perspective goes about attention hygiene. It's like mental fitness for leaders, habits, rituals that really help protect their focus, reduce their overwhelm, and help them thrive with their teams.
Okay, attention management and attention hygiene. First time I've heard those together, and I love it. It immediately makes you think about the problems while having as leaders. Very well said. Let's dive over to Shanoa. What's your shout out, my friend?
Yeah, I think it's really important to stay curious and have an open mind. I mean, right now with AI, I've even heard like a PhD professor at University of South Florida, which has like the first named school for AI, talk about how he doesn't know everything. That kind of goes back to Anna's point a little bit too. Like, you don't know everything. So you have to constantly be seeking that information and trying to process what it means for you. But you need to do that in a way where you're communicating with people and understanding what the the situation looks like. I guess it's, just kind of understanding your environment and how other people are responding to it.
Love it. Love it. John H., what are you shouting out?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He's doing the silent shout out.
Yeah. No, you couldn't read my mind. I was actually.
That was it. That was the moment. That was a big signal boost.
That's because you guys are in order that way. I was just waiting for John S.
The pregnant pause. That's what we were going for.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. No, I think I think it's scale, flexibility, and responding, overreacting. I mean, things are just happening so fast, and things are changing so fast. We're asking to do so much more that we just have to make sure that the reaction is a true response, and that comes from having, good strategy, good plan, good understanding of where you're going, and making sure you don't get derailed, because we're in as Anna pointed out, distractive. It's very easy to go this way, and then all of a sudden, you're in Hong Kong, and you weren't going there. So just always be apprised of that. There's a true north that you're headed towards all the time. Just stay in that zone.
I love it. Focus on true north. Fantastic. All right. And lastly, John S.
I'm going to jump on the same bandwagon as everyone and talk about the need to eliminate or not be concerned with those distractions. So Anna was talking about attention management, and how do we help our people to focus on what is important? So to me, and in my field of educational management, it really is about being strategic, looking at the data, and as Chanel was saying, being curious about that. What is the data telling us what our next move should be? How do we improve, in the case of my field, our student success? And then even bringing it back to what John is saying, not being so emotional, which as educators we tend to be, but really be reactive in the sense of, again, okay, where are we putting our focus and how are we going to react to that? What is the key performance indicator or the key performance outcome that we want, and how are we going to achieve that?
Yeah, amazing. I think it's so interesting how all of you talked about, look, you need to manage your attention so that you can be curious, so that you can keep your emotions in check, right? So that you can actually do the work that needs to be done. And it's incredible how a week can go by as a leader and it feels wasted, right? But that's precious time you can't get back, especially in markets like this, which is so competitive. So I love that you all show the light on all of that. All right, let's take a quick break with our sponsors. And then when we come back, my favorite segment, work it or waste it. We're going to debate the pros and cons. So let's do this. This is an executive wake-up call. If you're a professional that's feeling overlooked and underutilized and quite frankly invisible, listen up, this one's for you. These days, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. You need visibility in order to attract the best opportunities. So if you feel like you've been stuck in the executive wasteland, you need to start using your Pro Voice. Your Pro Voice is a modern form of personal branding, and it's how you make sure that you get the best opportunities, raises and promotions, fractional work, and any other kind of opportunity that you're looking for in your latter half of your career. Executives today need to stand out. And if you don't understand how to do that with your Pro Voice, you are not going to get the respect and the opportunities you want and deserve. If you're interested in working directly with me and my team, you can do that with our Pro Voice platform. And right now, because you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to give you a discount. Pro Voice 50 will get you $50 a month off the monthly membership. Cancel at any time. And as a bonus, use the Pro Voice 50 and you will get a 30-minute one-on-one call with me to kick off your Pro Voice. And that is a $399 value. So what are you waiting for? It's time to use your Pro Voice to get the respect that you want and deserve, but more importantly, get the opportunities that you need. Sign up today at workitdaily.com, use Pro Voice 50, and I'll see you there. All right, today, Work It or Waste It, folks, is about debating the value between speed, because we know you've got to have some sort of velocity if you want to keep your company ahead of the pack, your business ahead of the pack as a leader, but also thoughtful execution. So I want to know, if you had to pick one over the other, which one is it and why? So we're going to debate that a little bit here. And let's start with who we're going to pick on first. We'll start with John H. Let's get him to go first.
I'm paying attention this time. Speed's always been part of the game for me. Response time has integral, but now it's everybody wants it faster and faster and faster. And, everyone thinks AI is going to make it faster and faster, which it will in a lot of areas. But for my business, advertising, marketing, events where you're trying to connect emotionally, you got to make sure that the speed does not leave out the human. We're going to move so fast. Don't forget there are touch points that have to be made and slow down enough to debate. The biggest thing with speed that I find out in what I do is people waste time, so speed becomes the only solution. And speed shouldn't be the solution. It can be your goal early because you have short turnaround, but don't waste your time. So speed is the solution. That's not the way to go.
Oh my gosh, I think that needs to be a banner. We're going to start our own Pro Voice success banners. You remember those cheesy things they used to put in offices? And so we already have one from another episode, but I think this one is speed should not be the solution is a fabulous banner, John. We're going to have to ink that one. John S., what do you think?
You're putting me on the spot. I don't know if I could do one. I think they're both important. It depends.
Breaking the rules.
Breaking the rules. Innovation all the way. So I think it really depends where in a process an organization is. So I totally agree with John H. that too much speed can leave certain voices out of the equation that need to be heard. That's getting to that equity piece of leadership. But if we're too deliberate, nothing changes, nothing happens, nothing gets done. And I see that all the time in my industry. Educators tend to be too deliberate. So what I would recommend for leaders, and again, I know my context is specific, but I think this could apply to multiple industries, and that is be quick with certain small things. Take small steps first in what you want to change. Bring people into that process of innovation with you, where it's not just you making those decisions, those short-term fixes, but ask your team, how do we go about fixing this? What should we do differently? In the case of my field, okay, our kids aren't taking notes very well. Let's change up how we do that. And then bring that work back in, bring your evidence back in. How did the change work? Now's the time to be deliberate. What worked? What didn't work? What do we want to replicate across our industry or across our organization? What do we not want to implement? So I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I love it. And if ever there was an industry, believe it or not, that has to go through such massive change right now, it's yours, education, right? People can get the answer to everything on the internet with AI, with ChatGPT. So how does learning shift, right? I'm fascinated by that. I love that that's your specialty. Let's jump over to Anna. Anna, what do you think?
Well, speed is super sexy. True. But without clarity, it's just chaos. So think about it this way, just varying your direction by 1 degree, and let's see where you will end, right? It's very, very important. And I've seen this, unfortunately, so many times where teams really try to outrun uncertainty by, doing more meetings, making faster decisions according to them, of course, constantly changing the momentum. But what if the real accelerator is pausing just long enough to see the bigger picture? I honestly don't think we need faster decisions. We need braver, more intentional ones. That's where really, I believe, great leadership lives.
Oh my gosh. So we've got another banner. Speed without clarity equals chaos. I mean, that's a beautiful equation to put, right? Speed plus lack of clarity equals chaos. Brilliant. Couldn't agree. And I love that idea of a pause. Makes total sense. Take a breath, take a beat. Let's look closely. Shanoa, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think everybody's got a good point. I think in the world of AI, it's just slightly different because, I'm going to put it on a spectrum. Like, say you had 100%, and you can't really go, 100 for one and 100 for the other and 0. So I would say it's 60% really slowing down and thinking about it, and 40% speed for AI, because we live in a world where we're never going to live without AI again. AI is here to stay. Any year or day that we had without AI, it doesn't exist anymore. And, I've listened to a lot of experts talk about what they know. And the first thing they said, going back to what we talked earlier, is they don't know everything. You have to keep on top of it. It's almost impossible to keep on top of it. And so everybody's out there doing it. you can't not do it and be a part of that rush. But at the same time, you have to really think about what you're doing before you implement it. Like a lot of people were talking earlier about AI first, and I never liked that phrase. I thought it was a very salesy phrase. I thought it did exactly that. Nobody was thinking about what it meant. You have to clean up your data. You have to understand what your data is. You have to have a really responsible framework, and you have to have some ethics and some governance. And working in data governance, so like I understand, like in financial services, people find it painful. They're like, why can't we just get this done? It's because you have to have a process for compliance and for regulations and for ethics, and just to ensure and just an insurance policy for your business, your brand, your reputation, your job are on the line when you implement AI. So if you don't do yourself the service of thinking about it, you could be in a really bad situation.
So what I take away from all 5 of you is you can go as fast as you can go without breaking things, right? So you need to kind of know your speed limit is sort of the way I'm taking away this session, which I think is fantastic and very well said. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to move into in my industry. So all of you are in different industries. I want to hear from you. What's the big leadership problem or leadership challenge that's happening right now in your industry? Let's start with John S.
Wow. So what is the big leadership issue? Well, clearly, as Chanel was bringing up, AI is a major issue, and people are really freaking out about how to use AI. AI is cheating. Students aren't going to learn. So leadership is really about pulling people, at least in my field, pulling people off the ledge and then bringing them together as a group and really being more of a servant leader. And what I mean by that is saying, okay, here's the issue. As Shanoa says, it's not going away. So if students are quote unquote cheating using AI, what are we as a team going to do where we don't ban AI because that serves no purpose, the horse has left the barn, but use AI to get students thinking harder, better, more analytically. So that's where the key is. And the other part of that leadership piece, that equity piece, is what do you all feel about that? Because you're all the teachers in the field, working day in, day out with these kids. I, as the administrator or the leader, might come in and out, but you're with the kids all the time. So how do we craft our lessons using AI, but then having students reflect on how they used AI in order to increase their knowledge?
Okay, and if you replace the word students with everything John just said with employees, same answer, right? Same answer. I think it's just so fascinating how we have to think about this AI leadership issue and its impact. Great stuff, John S. And let's jump over to Shanoa.
Yeah, thanks, JT. I think that leaders are in a really difficult situation. I'll be honest. I really empathize with them because if you are sitting there and you're the head of a company, AI isn't the same for all companies, first of all. So you could be in a highly regulated industry and you can't move as fast as some of these others that don't have as much regulation. I mean, private equity firms don't have the regulation that big banks do for a reason. But then private equity firms can move faster. And you're also in a situation where it's competitive advantage. So you're trying to make a responsible decision that everybody has learned. Look, if you're a leader, you can go to jail now. If you're in the C-suite, mm-hmm. You could potentially go to prison for making the wrong decisions and having things go sideways. But here's this thing where you have to go so fast and you have to figure it out that if you don't get ahead of it and your competitor does, you're not going to look good on the street. Your investors aren't going to come to you. Plus, you've got your people to think about and all these other things like ethics and society, and there's no end to it. So I can just imagine how much agony some of these leaders are going through every day trying to figure out what the best way forward is when there's no best practice.
I agree. And, they say that you can only make good decisions when you're emotionally stable. But that kind of pressure, how are they staying emotionally stable as leaders, right? To be able to make informed and smart decisions with that kind of pressure. You bring up such a good point. Let's jump over to Anna. Anna, what do you think?
I would say, Shanoa, bingo, exactly. Fully agree with what you just described. And I think leadership today isn't just about performance, which have been for the longest time. It's about brain-based sustainability, right? How do we make sure that our people, our employees, our leaders, our managers are in the best possible mindset. With what we know now from neuroscience, we really cannot ignore anything like, issues like attention residue or cognitive overload, and certainly the importance of psychological safety, right? These are not buzzwords or the flavor of the month. These are really impacting how people lead, how people think, and certainly make decisions under pressure. We're really moving away, and this is how I see it, from task management into mental fitness. Leaders who really get to understand how the brain responds to stress, to ambiguity, and certainly to trust are the ones that are going to be shaping the cultures of those organizations where people are really going to want to stay and be part of.
I love that you brought up psychological safety. I mean, it's amazing how many people still don't understand that, and it's something that's so vital these days, given everything we've been through. Great points. All right, let's round out this discussion from John H.
Well, for me, because I work for marketers, I work for large brands, and it's advertising, marketing, it's positioning. And what they have to do is consistently put a message out that differentiates them from their competitors. Mm-hmm. The challenge now is the number of ways of entry into a brand landscape. It used to be traditional. There's a traditional funnel of awareness and you bump into them an opportunity and consideration. And now you might meet me on a tweet. You might meet me at an event. You might see a TikTok and all of them. So what used to be orderly is now random access. And the reality is, you have to cultivate each one of them and understand which one of them works best for you, and you have to make them work in unison. So one of the things that I always like to do, because I usually come in on one point of it, but ask what else they're trying to do with it to make sure this is just me trying to help leaders. Because I don't talk to the CEO, I'll talk to the CMO. They speak different languages. When I'm speaking to the CMO, they have a multiple prong effort they need to do, and I'm leading one or two of them. I want to know how I can help them across five of them, because they have to think that way, and they're all super important. I mean, now it's so different for them, the way people get attached to brands and where brands pop up from. They come out of nowhere, and as automation comes in and commodification of brands, brand identity is going to be more and more and more and more important, because robots are going to make assessments about what has values, but a robot will never tell you what kind of shoes you like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I would agree with you. I think it's gotten crazy in your business trying to keep us herding cats, my friend. Herding cats. It's just nuts. I love it.
There's a rush too to think that there's always going to be the flash in the pan, which is the viral video or the tweet that goes wild. It's very hard to catch that lightning.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. No chasing lightning. Great stuff, folks. Thank you for weighing in. We're going to get a check-in with our sponsors, and when we come back, you're all going to get a chance to do your power pitch.
Visibility is everything in today's world, but getting noticed, that's tougher than ever. AI is making it easy for you to apply, to post, to connect, but it's also flooding the market with noise. Recruiters, potential clients, decision makers, they're swamped. They can't meet with everyone. And so many great professionals are getting overlooked every single day. That's why creating a strong professional brand is so important. But you might be thinking, I don't know where to begin. I don't know what content will work best. I don't even have the time to figure this all out. That's where McCoy comes in. You bring your experience and your goals, and McCoy AI will turn them into clear, compelling messages that make people pay attention. It helps you find the words, the proof, the stories that show your value. In minutes, you'll have short, powerful content for your McCoy Reel, your evidence on video backed by real results. It's designed to grab attention fast and to leave the right impression. You'll know that people are watching, and you'll know that your message is landing. All in one simple link, easy to share, easy to open, impossible to ignore. No guessing, no blank page, no wasting time, just a smarter, faster way for you to show your value. McCoy is free, but with McCoy Pro, you can create targeted reels for specific roles, clients, and audiences. Build your presence, grow your influence, land that next big opportunity. McCoy helps people get you in seconds. Download today from the App Store and Google Play.
All right, we're back. It's time for Power Pitch. This is where each of my guests gets 30 seconds to give me their top leadership philosophy that they want to let you know about. So who do I want to start with first? I'm going to shake things up a little bit. We'll go with, we'll put it right back at John Shambari. Let's go, John S.
Know your people, value your people. Again, take them off the ledge. Show them how they're important to the bottom line. So I would say one of the philosophies would be to lead from behind. Really make sure that you're the cheerleader on the side and that you're there to help them if they fall. But you got to let them fall. You got to let them question. You got to let them lead, and you lead. Or you got to let them do, and you lead from behind.
Love it. Philosophy of lead from behind. Fantastic. Let's go over to John H. again.
It's picking the right people, picking the people with the right attitude. It is making them know that you care about them. And the great thing about what I do, because I build teams for projects specifically, it always feels like there are no personal issues. There's no backstory. We're not in each other's rice bowl so much. We really have a job to do. We're like SEALs. We're like Navy SEALs. 6 of us in a boat are going to go do something crazy for the next 6 weeks and get it done. And with that kind of ethos where the job is the purpose, it makes it easier. Just get the right people and back them in a way. I call it fuzzy logic. I don't tell them what to do. I just tell them what has to be done.
Love it. Pick the right people and fuzzy logic. I think great philosophies, especially for the intensity of which the work that you do, for sure. Fantastic. Shanoa, your philosophy?
Yeah, I think I go back to something that my strategy professor said when I was in my MBA program at Georgetown. Paul Almeida, he was such a great guy. And he said, hope is not a strategy. And I think that's always true. Hope is not a strategy. You can hope for the best. With AI, you can hope that it's going to work out. It's not a strategy. And I would say being in organizational change, I like that. I always say the only people who like change are babies. So your industry is going to always change. You're going to have to figure out a way to manage it. Nobody's going to like it. But at the end of the day, you got to change.
I love it. You got to. It's not open, right? Change is the only constant. Absolutely beautiful. Anna, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that, reflecting on disruption, which is, our everyday, it's sitting every day with us. That isn't really what breaks leaders. It's this connection. That's what I've learned through working with thousands of leaders. And, we've talked about the fact that we're living in a very, very noisy and distractful world. And really the best leaders are the ones that stay grounded, stay focused, and fully present. So my passion and my focus is really to help those leaders master their mindset, master their energy and their attention, so that they can really lead with that intention and not reaction. So I've created frameworks and methods, etc., to achieve that, so that they can have easier roadmaps for leading with clarity and everything around, even if everything around is spinning. So my recommendation would be that think about, how do you manage this connection? How do you stay grounded? How do you master your mindset? And how do you master your attention?
I love it. I'm going to throw one in there because for me, it's been about managing expectations. I am constantly saying things are good until they aren't. Things work until they don't. Right? Like, we don't freak out. We don't blame that we did it the wrong way because it worked until it did, And so until people understand that, and I think that goes back to what you were saying, Shanoa, change is the constant, right? And managing yourself and your resources, it starts with you, as you're pointing out, Anna. If you're not in that strong space, that capable space, you're not going to be able to coach to that as well. So fabulous power pitches, great philosophies across the board, folks. We're in our final segment. It's by far my favorite because I throw you a curveball. It's called Mic Drop Moment. I'm going to go around the room and I want you each to give me a quote that you feel best represents how you feel about leadership and what you want people to remember and take away from leadership today. So drum roll, please. I'm sure they'll put one on here. Who am I going to pick on first? I'm going to go back to Shanoa.
So I would say I help companies turn their ambition into real business value.
Nice. Okay. So taking that ambitious design, but actually making it practical and usable and implementable. Fantastic. I love it. How about we jump over to John S.?
I help teachers teach and school leaders lead.
So you guys are like 10 out of 10 on this one. Fantastic. Amazing. Let's go over to Anna.
I help leaders reclaim their power, rewire their mindset, and lead with purpose without burning out.
Fantastic. And John H?
I make things happen on time and in time and expand and elevate. My job is to protect, expand, and elevate your idea.
Gorgeous. Wow. Come on. Somebody was supposed to be stumped in the mic drop moment. That was not fair. I'm supposed to get a 10 out of 10 out of that. Folks, this has been an excellent episode. As you can see, very, very smart, intelligent pro voicers here. They are all on the Subs platform. We are so lucky to have subs.com as one of our partners. What does this mean for you? Each and every one of the people on this show could be in your back pocket right now. Please check out their link where you can go over and subscribe at a very low monthly rate. We're talking cup of coffee, and you get unlimited direct messaging access to these experts so that you can talk to them, learn from them, grow from them. So please check them out over at subs.com. We're so lucky to be partnering with them. And certainly, if you want to go find them directly, you can go find each and every one of these individuals on LinkedIn as well. Jot their name down. You'll see them there. If you've got ideas for the show, please send them in. Otherwise, until next time, thank you so much for stopping by Pro Voice. Remember, if you want to win, you got to work it daily. And if you want to be seen, heard, and understood, use your Pro Voice.